Hey everyone. Tonight we're going to look at Mark 10:42 through 45, and these are some really powerful verses, some really great verses that really give us an answer as to um, what what greatness looks like in the kingdom of God. And this is a really important question that Jesus answers. It's one that all of us long for. All of us long to be great, and we long to have an impact. We long to have significance. We all want to have lives that matter. And Jesus gives us the answer to that question. Hey, if you want to be great, this is what it looks like. And it's very different from how the world defines greatness. And so in these verses, we see Jesus present two definitions of greatness from two different kingdoms or two different value systems. And so he makes known what greatness looks like in the kingdom. So if we look at it, we'll start in verse 42. And in this verse, Jesus is stating what greatness in the world equates to. He says, "You know that those who are considered rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their great ones exercise authority over them." So here he's presenting one value system, or he's presenting how the world views greatness, and it looks like power and authority, and using that power and authority to lord it over others and causing them to serve you. And so you use your authority and your power, you exert it so that others will serve you and lift you up and make you great. Now when we move on to verses 43 and 44, Jesus shows us what greatness looks like in the kingdom of God. And this is what he says: "But it shall not be so among you, but whoever would be great among you must be your servant, and whoever would be first among you must be slave of all." So Jesus right here is saying, hey, how the world defines greatness and how they express greatness, it can't be like that among you guys. Jesus is talking to his disciples here, and he's addressing a request that James and John put forward. They asked to be put in places of prominence and power, to be put at Jesus's right hand, which contextually were places of power. And so Jesus, recognizing their longing for significance and greatness, he addresses this. He uses this opportunity to address this, not just to James and John, but to all of his disciples before him. And, thankfully Mark records this and writes it down for us. And so Jesus says, this is how the Gentiles do it. They lord it over them. They cause others through their power to serve them. But Jesus says, not so among you. Whoever would be great among you must be your servant. And so right there in that phrase Jesus gives us, this is the theme of these verses. Greatness in God's kingdom is measured by servitude and by humility. If you want to be great, you have to view others as great. If you want to be great, you have to use the gifts that God has given you and the grace that God gives you to serve others, to put them first, to see them as great and lift them up. And in so doing, Jesus says, you will be great. If you want to be first, if you want to be prominent, you must be a slave. So it's very different. The Gentiles, they enslaved others and they made others be servants. But Jesus is saying, take that on yourself. So Jesus is saying that greatness is not measured nor displayed through self-exaltation and having servants to do your bidding as Gentiles do. Rather, greatness is measured through the manner in which you serve to make others great. And then Jesus, he ends with this. He says, "For even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." Jesus, he presents the ultimate display of servitude, of humility, and greatness. He, the Son of Man and King of all kings, he came not to serve, not to be served, but to serve others. He then makes known in this how, what does that look like? He makes it known, the manner in which he served, or at this point he was going to serve. The purpose and the point of his life. He came to die and give his life as a ransom for many. And now many have been and will be redeemed and brought forth from death to life by the power of his death and resurrection. Through Christ's humility, we are made great. We who were once sinners and far off, Christ at the cross made us to be sons and daughters of the Most High. So Christ has set the ultimate example. This is what he's pointing to right here. As he has done, so shall we do. And so what does this look like? How can we apply this to our lives? It can look many different ways. I know for me, I'm a husband. Often as husbands, we can be out of touch with our wives. Rather than being the first to wash dishes or to cook dinner or help with the kids, we wait until they're feeling stressed. And then they ask, and then there's this tension between us. We need to, as husbands, we need to learn to read our wives and serve them in a manner that lifts them up and refreshes them and makes them great. If we see there's dishes, do the dishes, help with the kids, wash clothes, and all these, seemingly menial tasks. That's what greatness equates to. It's all these little things where we can serve. I'm reminded of a story, again, that my wife told me. We just spent 2 weeks in Maryland with my family. It's where I'm from. We live in Georgia now, and I was up there doing a wedding, and so she came up, and we had a great time. And she flew home, and in the Atlanta airport, super busy, one of the most busy airports in the world. You get off your plane, you have to go down an escalator, and there's this subway tram that runs, and you get on it. It'll take you to your connecting gate, or it'll take you to the baggage claim. So we have a 2-month-old girl, and she's pushing our 2-month-old in a stroller. Well, this was a very busy day, and she goes up to the gate, or the where the doors open, where the train comes through, and she's waiting there, and she's sitting, and the train pulls up, and by this time there's a big group of people. So the doors open, and everybody pushes past her, pushes her out of the way, files in past her. Business guys with their briefcases, they just push her stroller out of the way and get in. Well, the door's closed. She misses the train, so it's 3 more minutes. I'll wait till the next one. Well, the next one comes up. Lo and behold, same thing happens. All these people gather around. Well, she goes to get on the train, and the doors close on the stroller. And so she has to pull it out. Everyone's just staring at her. Nobody's helping. And she told me this. I'm thinking, man, what's going on? What kind of mentality is this? What mindset do people have that they would cut in front of a young woman with a 2-month-old baby and not help her and let her on? And that's, it's what it comes down to. It's they saw themselves as greater and their needs to be greater than my wife in that moment. And so rather than seeing her and helping her and reaching out to her and seeing her needs of needing to get on the train and get to the baggage claim and all that kind of stuff, they didn't consider that. They considered their own needs. I need to get my bags and get this and get this. And so in doing that, we do the same thing that Jesus said the Gentiles do. We lord it over them. Well, my needs are more important than yours. Doesn't matter that you have a 2-month-old. And so in that moment, what it looked like to serve someone else is, to put your arm out, to help that person get on the train with their baby, clear a seat for them. It's as simple as that. And so that's the point and purpose of this passage. It can play out a million different ways in when we're at work, when we're at home, even when we're driving. There's so many ways, but it's just remembering that greatness in the kingdom equates to lifting others up to make them great, rather than exalting ourselves over them to make them great. I hope this teaching blesses you, and I hope you all have a great night.